Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to another Blender tutorial. Today we're going to be making a house. Let's right click this box to select it, tab into edit mode, Control R to create a loop cut, confirm it, and then we'll press 2 for edge mode, select that edge, press G to grab, Z to pull it up on the Z axis, and tab out of edit mode. And there you go. You have a beautiful house. Follow me, like, and subscribe for more tutorials. That wasn't funny at all. I thought that was funny. Like 10 minutes ago, I thought that was funny. It's not funny anymore. Let's go ahead and X, delete that. Shift A, cube, bring the cube back in. Alright, so if you don't want your house to look like you drew it in kindergarten, we are going to need to use reference images. I'm using this reference image from a friend of mine. We're going to be doing some charity work for him because he doesn't know how to build anything. And if you don't know how to build anything, that's fine. I'm not going to make fun of you. We'll press Shift A. Oops, Shift C. Hate when that cursor moves. Shift A. To add something, we'll select image, background image, and you can select the image that you want and load it in. Now, if you're starting out in a clean project, you might be looking at it like this. So if you press Shift A, image, background image, and you add this, you're going to have a weird image on the side like this, and this doesn't really help too much. It's kind of annoying, actually, especially if you're trying to trace over something. So press 1 on the numpad to go to front view. Don't go to side or top view like I do sometimes and mess the whole thing up. Just go to front view. It's good practice. Then press Shift A, background image, and you can add the images that you want. And you could even scale this up if you needed to. And then while the image is selected, you can go over here to image. You can change the depth. So like, let's move that right there. And then the front, so it's in front of the model. If it's behind the model, you could do opacity like this. So you could do it in front of the model, or you put it behind it and then like trace around it, do whatever you want. So let's go back and create the cube. Front view, make sure we're in front view, numpad 1. Okay, and the first thing we're gonna look at is the basic shapes of the house that we want to make. So we'll zoom right in here. What do we got here? So we have like a square, like a rectangle almost. And then we have a rectangle going this way, like up and down. And then we have almost like a triangle. It's not quite a triangle. It's going to be like a squish triangle for the attic area. So it's a rectangle here, rectangle going up and down, triangle on top of that. And then we have this longer, flatter rectangle on the top on this side, same thing on this side. And then we also have this some sort of like 2x4 or 8x8 log, like that's a square, an elongated square. So we're going to need a rectangle, triangle, rectangle, square. So let's go ahead and try and just block that out real quick. Let's go into front view, edit mode, square. This a house isn't really square, so we'll scale it down. We'll press S to scale, Z for the Z axis. We'll scale it down just a bit so it looks more like a house shape. That looks good. Then we'll rotate around, press 3 for face select, select this back face, press G to grab, Y to move it along the Y axis, and we'll just move it out till it looks somewhat decent. That looks proper. And then we'll go back into front view and we'll press Shift A and we will make another cube. G to grab, Z to move it along the Z axis. And then we can do 3 for face select, grab this face. Now at the snapping tool at the top here with this little magnet, we'll select vertex. Don't turn it on yet, but we'll just select vertex. And then we'll press G to grab, and then we'll press Y to lock it along the Y axis, and then we'll hold Control and then mouse over a vertex so that it snaps to this vertex right here. And confirm it. That looks good. Then we'll press 2 for edge select. Select this edge, select this edge. There we go. And we'll do scale along the x-axis. And then if we try to do this by hand, it's not really going to work. If we hold Control, it doesn't quite work either. So what we'll do is scale X, and then we'll press 0 on the numpad, and press Enter. There we go. Now if we press 1 for vertex select, and we select one of these vertices, we will see, if we press grab, well, we'll see that on your project there will probably be 2 vertices there in the same spot. That's not good. It's just wasted geometry. So what you'll want to do is go to your project settings, right here on the side, the wrench and screwdriver, click options, and then click auto merge. And this will auto merge your vertices. Well, what does it even say? What does it say? Automatically merge vertices moved to the same location. So this is going to help you keep your geometry clean. So make sure that's on. If you've already done the scaling the 2 edges here, if you already did that, you can press Control Z until it looks like this again. Now that auto merge is on, you can go ahead and select these 2 edges, scale X, 0, Enter. There you go. And that looks good again. And then we're just going to look under here. We'll press 3 for face select, grab this face, and we'll press G to grab, Z along the Z axis, press Control or hold Control so that it snaps to that vertex, confirm it, there we go. And we'll press 2 for edge select, grab this edge up here, G to grab, Z along the Z axis, and just bring it down until it looks good. We'll press 1 for front view, and G and Z, and we can kind of get an idea. You don't want it too pointy because that doesn't really look right. Too flat, it looks stupid. You gotta figure like there's gonna be a human in there. There's a bit of an attic, but they're not giving you the full floor plan. So that looks good right there. And what we'll do, what I like to do is Z, go into wireframe mode, 3 for face select, and just delete these 2 extra faces that we have here. G or X to delete face. Let's go back into front view. That looks good. Let's check our reference image. What do we need now? We need the 2 flat, longer rectangles. Okay. So there's an easy way to do this, and it can kind of be a little bit complicated if it's your first time, if you don't really understand the controls of Blender too well, but I think you guys will do fine. So we'll press 3 for face select, select this face, Shift D to duplicate, and then we'll just right click to leave the face where it is. Press 1 on the numpad to go into front view, and then we'll press period so we can kind of make sure that the camera's focused on that area. That makes that easier. Then we'll press E to extrude, and it'll extrude along the normal, like which way the normal's facing, so that's very helpful. And this is kind of an exaggerated house. We'll make this a bit thicker, maybe right there. And then we'll hold down Control and press plus to select the next faces connected to it. And then because there's also another face underneath there, we'll hold down Control and press plus again. I usually press plus a couple times, make sure all the faces are selected. Go back into front view, and then we'll just press S to scale. And I'll hold down Shift just so I can get more accuracy on that. That looks good. And then we'll press G to grab along the x-axis so that the edge comes right to this edge. And then we'll press G and Z and bring it down. There you go. So now it's right on the edge there. And you kind of have an overhanging roof, and it doesn't stick out too far. Actually, that didn't look too bad at all. Okay. So press 1 for front view. And with everything still selected, we'll press Shift D. Now we've got another duplicate. Right click to just leave it there. And we'll press R to rotate, Z along the Z axis, and then we'll type 180 on the numpad to rotate at 180 degrees on the Z axis. Press Enter. And then we'll press G to grab, and we'll move it along the X axis, the red line. We'll move it over here and we'll hold down Control. Oh, see, so if we're moving it along this x-axis, and then we're holding Control, the first pixel to hit that marker that we want, it's like, I don't know, it's like it just kind of picks and chooses what it moves or what it lines to or how far it goes over. So if you have that problem, we'll just move it over here first onto this side, GX again, and then we can just bring it in. There we go. So that's perfectly lined up for us. That looks good. And now we need to do the 8x8 wood log. So we will just tab back into edit mode, press Control A to make a cube. Let's press S to scale. Now this, because we scaled it, it's disappeared behind the house. We can press Z and go to wireframe so we can see the cube again. Press S to scale, G to grab, Z. Now we can rotate this, R to rotate. We'll rotate this on the Y axis, and we will do 45 degrees. There we go. We'll press G to grab, Z, bring this down. Now, you could just pop it in there right there and press Z to go back into solid view. And I mean, that would fit normally in a perfect world, but we don't want to create a perfect worlds here. We want to create something looks like it's been built and pieced together. So go back and press Z, go back into wireframe mode, and we'll just bring this down right into the wood. Bring it right into the wood, let it overlap. This will look a lot better, trust me. And then we'll grab this face here, G, Y. We'll bring that out. Let it extend right over the side. Press G to grab, Y along the Y-axis. Let that extend right over the side of the house. And there you go. We have our basic shape down for our house. Let's press 1 to go into front view. Let's check our reference image. Okay, so we have a bit of shingles. Shingles. The word is shingles. I had to go Google it. Don't tell anyone. So we have some shingles here, and we have some windows we can put in, and we're going to need a door to get into this house. And it doesn't really show here, but the type of wall that we're going to have, it's almost like that 1800s. I don't know what the name for it, but let's go ahead and try to recreate that. So the first thing we can do is, let's do the shingles. Okay, so let's go to side view, tab into edit mode. What we could do here is press 3 for face select, grab this face, do Shift D, duplicate this face, right click to leave it there. We'll scale this down until it looks somewhat decent. Scale this on the Y so we can get more of a shingly look. Front view, and then we'll just extrude this. See how that looks. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. We can tab out of edit mode, go up to the top right here, select this down arrow while in solid view. If you're not in solid view, press Z, solid view. Select this down arrow. We could do random, give this a bit more color, and then we could also do backface culling. That's good, so that because if you're going to import this into a video game and one of the faces is facing the wrong way, this will show you so that when you import it into the game, it's not invisible. And then we can do cavity and shadow. Yeah, let's give it a bit of a shadow. All these little things help so that you can kind of see what you're actually working on here, what it'll look like in game. Okay, let's go back into edit mode, select this entire cube, right click, or side view, 3 on the numpad, and then we'll do Shift D, and we'll just bring this over along the Y axis. Alright, so it's not going to go, like if we were to grab this with G, it's not going to line up perfectly. I mean, you could, like I said, you know, try not to be too perfect, but if you're having problems, G, and then we can go up here. Let's move this out here first. And then back to our snap tool. In the drop down, we'll move from vertex to edge. press G to grab, and then we'll hold down Control, and then we'll hit that edge there. And now we're lined up with the edge, and we've got the right angle, the proper angle, and we're touching the edge. Oops. And we're a little bit too far over, so we'll press G and Y, bring that in. And then we can do Shift D to duplicate this along the Y. We'll put one there, and Control plus 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 to make sure all the faces are selected, and we'll Shift D, Y, bring that in maybe right there, and then we'll make one more. Control plus plus to select all the faces there, Shift D, Y, and maybe we'll bring this one down. So we'll go back into front view, and we'll just grab this one, bring it down here, set it around the area that you want, grab it, Control, hold down Control, just line it up to where you want. That looks good. Oops, and again it moved. So press G and Y, and maybe we'll put it right there. How's that look? And maybe one more. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. Okay, so now we can select all of these with Shift. Select all of these, one face, and then we'll just hold down Control, plus plus plus, make sure all the connected faces are selected. Go into front view, Shift D, so we got our new shingles. Right click to leave them where they are, rotate R, Z along the Z axis, 180 degrees, press enter, G to grab, X to move them along the X axis. And then we'll grab them again, press X, hold down Control, and just move them right up onto that first edge, confirm. And there you go. We now have shingles on our roof. All right, let's go back into front view. Let's check our reference image. Is there anything else we need? We do need windows, or a window. So the next part of the house that you're going to want to, the next question that you're going to want to have is this house a display house, or is this a house that a person needs to go into? Because it's going to be completely different in how you make the house. Probably should have mentioned this sooner, but this is going to be a display house. Nobody's going in, and nobody's going to see in either. So that's fine the way we're doing it for now. So we'll go back into front view, and we're not going to do this in edit mode. We're going to leave the house the way it is for now. In fact, we could have even done, we're going to make a second object, but we could have even done this roof as its own object, which we should actually do right now, just so that we can make these modular. Select basically one of everything, hold Control plus plus plus. Make sure we have everything for the roof, and then we'll do Shift P. Nope, that's not it. P, separate by selection. So now this is going to separate the thing we selected from the house. And now if we select this and press G to grab, we now have this roof that we can put on any different house. We could scale it, we could rotate it, give it a different color, make it its own object. That's how we want to create our house. A base, a roof, and then windows and doors. So that's what we're going to do next. Windows. So front view, make sure we're in object mode. Shift A. We'll make a cube. Scale this down. And we're going to do the attic window. Going to kind of have to just get creative here. There's not enough detail there. So it's G to grab, Z, move it along the Z axis. Scale it. It's kind of a wide window, isn't it? Yeah, we're just going to have to get creative here. Okay. G to grab, Y. Bring it all the way to the front so we can see what's actually going on here. Tab into edit mode. Z to go into wireframe mode. We're just going to grab this back face here. G to grab, Y. And we're just going to grab a Let's move this snap to tool back to vertex. And we're just going to grab this back face and move it right up against the house. So G, Y, and we'll move it to a house vertex right there. And so now the window frame is right up against the house. That's fine. We could leave it like that, but I generally like to overlap things. So this is up to you. So I'm just going to grab Y and just move it right into the house so that I don't have any shadow issues or anything else like that. Grab this other face, G, Y, bring this in. And we can kind of see from the side view, if we go into wireframe, how far the roof sticks out and how far the window sticks out. So we don't want to make the window like flat up against the wall. It's not going to fit the style, and we don't want it way out here. So just kind of do halfway. It looks a bit bulky, but I think it fits the style. Okay. So let's go to front view. How does that look? Scale looks fine to me. We can go Shift R or Control R for a edge loop. Confirm that. Then we can select these two faces, press 3. Shift select or Shift right click these two faces and press I for inset. Hold on, individual. So press I again for individual. So I for inset, I for individual, or else it's going to select, it's going to keep them together like this, which we don't want. We want two windows. So press I for inset, I for individual. Kind of give it a bulky frame there. The sides look thick, but the top doesn't. Top and bottom. So we'll just press S to scale, Z. Bring that in a little bit. There we go. That looks good. And then we'll do E to extrude. And we'll just extrude it back all the way till we hit the house. Pull it back. There we go. Now we could actually just delete this. Press X, delete the faces. And that would work too. We could do that. And then we could, you know, put the 3D cursor there, press Shift A, and then we could make it look like there's something in the windowsill. You know, maybe like a little toy or something. But we're not going to do that today. Shift A, let's add a cube. Scale this down. G to grab. Scale this along the Z. Kind of create a little bit of a window frame here. Scale X. Kind of center this as much as you can. Do Shift D to duplicate it. Leave it there. R to rotate. Y. And then rotate it 90 degrees. Press Enter. Scale Z. There we go. Ooh, that seems a bit thick, eh? Okay, let's go to 2 for edge select. Alt, right click these edges. And we'll just do G, Y. Bring those. Hold on. What happened here? Okay, Z for wireframe mode. 2 for edge select. And then Alt, right click these edges. Okay, they're not. Okay, for some reason they're not working. It's not working. So we'll just. You could just grab the faces too, right? So grab that face and we'll grab that face. Press Z, go back into solid view. And we'll just G to grab, Y along the Y axis. That looks good. And I don't really like when faces are perfectly lined up with other faces. So I'm just going to pull this front face forward, G, Y. There we go. That looks good. I like that. Looks really good. So we have that face selected. Shift, right click that face. Control ++, so we have all the faces selected. Front view, 1 on the numpad. Shift D to duplicate. And we'll press G, X, bring it along the X axis. Kind of center it. Looks good to me. Tab out. And now we have a window we can place anywhere on any house because this is a modular piece. So for example, I could take this, I could do Shift D, rotate it on the Z 90 degrees, go into side view, 3 on the numpad, G to grab, place it right there if we wanted to, and let's go to front view, let's move it over, and then G to grab X. And remember, this is kind of bulky. We're kind of moving into the walls here. There we go. So we'll just push it right into the wall. We can put it in as far as we want. Make it a nice, you know, more detailed house, or we can go for the more bulky style. Those bulky windows with the bulky ceilings, or roofs, I should say. But before we do that, let's select the first window and let's name this properly. So housing, it's part of the housing, underscore window, and underscore 01. So it's the first window that we've made. And we'll just bring it down. We'll double click this, Control C to copy the name. This is the actual mesh data. This is what Unity and Unreal Engine are going to actually reference the image by. So we'll double click this one and make sure we change the name there as well. Press enter. There we go. We now have a window, and we might as well go ahead and rename the roof while we're at it. Hold on. My microphone cord is all over my keyboard. Housing roof 01. You might want to give it a different name, maybe housing roof shingles. Just be as descriptive as let's pretend you're making the game and you want to find this house and you've got 1,000 assets. What would you type in to find this house? That's what you want to name your roof. The next thing we're going to want to do is create some, I guess it's just filler detail. It's just basic detail because of the style we're going with. So basically wood paneling here. And if we start putting in wood paneling, like if I was to make cubes everywhere and put in wood paneling, that's just going to drive up the vertex count, which we don't really want to do. So there is an easier way, way I like to do this. We'll select this roof, get this out of our way, get the window, get this out of our way. It's to hide something, it's H. So press H to hide that. We'll select this house, tab into edit mode. We're not going to need these faces ever again because you're always going to have a roof. So we'll select this face, X to delete faces. There we go. And we're probably never going to need the floor, so we'll delete that face as well. This is going to make our job a little bit easier. And we'll press R for edge loop. And now we've got one edge loop here. If we use mouse wheel up, what the hell's that? Oh, some garbage truck outside. Anyways, if we use mouse wheel up, we can start getting more of these. And we can put in about, it depends really. We have a bulky, thick look, so we're not going to put in too many. That looks good to me. And then we'll just right click to let everything sit there. And then we're going to grab the odd ones. We're not going to grab this edge of the house. We want to leave there. So the next one, the next one, the next one, next one, next one. Hopefully this lines up. It does not. Okay, so Control Z. We want an even number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Is that right? I don't know. Let's check. It's hard to see. Okay, there we go. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. Okay, so we did 11 on this side. And with the odd ones selected, we'll just press G to grab. And we'll press the X for the X-axis. We can just bring them out. Or we can bring them in. I think I'll bring them out. That looks good. I like that. Okay, so I'm just going to right click, leave that for now. I'm going to come over to this side. I'm going to press Control R. 2, 3. I think I started at 1 when I did 2. So yeah, okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I wonder if we can just do something like this. Control R and then type in 11. Perfect. There we go. Then we can go 2 for edge select. Select this one. Go back into solid view, make this easier. Select this one, this one, this one. Come over on this side. Do this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. We'll go to top view, 7 on the numpad. And we'll do S to scale, but we're going to scale it on the X axis. So we'll press X as well, and we'll bring it out slightly. Not too much, or else we kind of have like a weird Mario Bowser kind of house there with all the spikes. We'll just make it a little bit, just a little bit of definition there. All right, that doesn't look too bad. We'll unhide our roof and our window. You know what? That actually looks freaking terrible. I don't like that at all. Okay, let's show you a different style. Let's go ahead and hide the roof and the window again. Tab into edit mode. Just going to go to side view, Z, wireframe mode, 3 for face select, G to grab all these faces, X faces, and then we'll go back into edge mode. Select this edge, fill. This edge, this edge, fill, solid view. Make sure the faces are right on this side and it's invisible on this side, right? So that your faces are facing properly. And let's do something where, give it a bit more detail. Let's do 11 again. And we'll do 11 on this side. But this time, let's do checkered select, and then we'll do something like maybe Control B. Scale that out slightly. And then we'll just extrude along the x-axis. That doesn't look too bad, does it? I think that looks a bit better. So then we don't need these extra edges here. So what we can do is A to select everything, X to delete, but we're going to dissolve faces. Cannot create merged face. What? Oh no, that's the wrong one. Hold on. X, limited dissolve. There we go. So it's going to flatten everything out wherever you don't need geometry. So we'll come over here, right click, or Control R, and we'll do 6 over here. Set that, and then we'll do Control B again for bevel. Make it about the same size. E to extrude on the x-axis. Bring it out slightly. There. I think that looks a lot better. Okay, let's bring in the roof and the window again. Yeah, that looks way better. Okay. Let's do the same. Let's hide the window and the roof. Let's do the same for the front and the back. Tab into edit mode. We don't want these 2x4s. We don't want them all the way to the top. Well, you could if you wanted to, but I don't. So I'm going to do 1 for vertex select. I'm going to select this vertex here, this vertex here. Now you could press J to join. Okay, anyways. Grab this vertex, J to join. And now we're going to do Control R right here. And then we'll do, what, 4? Yeah, 4 looks good. Confirm that. Do that, and that. Control B to bevel. And then E to extrude on the y-axis. Do the same thing over here. Control R and 4. Control B to bevel. E to extrude on the y-axis. Jeez, I'm losing my voice here. Now, if you wanted to, you could. Let's just undo this part. Let's say you didn't want to do the square. We could do X, dissolve this edge, so we have our original shape again. And then we do Control R. We're not really going to be able to do anything there. You know, there's nothing you can do. So we'll do J to join. And so what we can do is just press 3 for face select. Select this, 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 and this. G, Z, and bring those up. See, now we have that issue. That's what I was talking about earlier. There's that issue. Well, we could just extrude. So extrude Z. Bring it up to there. Extrude Z, or grab Z. Bring it up to there. That would work. Kind of have the little extra geometry there. I mean, that's nothing in the grand scheme of things with today's computers. That's nothing. Okay. Let's select all. X. Let's do a limited dissolve. There we go. That cleans it up for us anyways. Let's go back to the front of the house. What are these extra faces here? Let's delete that face. Delete that face. We don't need faces there because nobody's going to see it. And in fact, if you wanted to, you could delete these faces. You're not going to gain any performance deleting those faces because you're still going to have the vertexes from the sides. So we'll just leave those, but we'll delete the other faces. So we can save on texture space. Let's see how this looks from the front. Let's put our roof and our window back in. That looks good. Looks a little bit odd having the 2x4s just end there. So I think what we're going to do is forward view. Tab on the house. Control A to create a cube. Scale it down. G, Y, or GZ. Period on the numpad to zoom in. Scale this down. I think we're going to have to move the window here. I think that looks good. Yeah, okay. G to grab while on the y-axis. Select that vertex there. So it's lined up right against the house. I'll grab this face. GX. Bring it out. Oops. GX. Bring it right out into the roof. That looks good. GX. Bring it out right into the roof. There we go. Looks pretty good. Might be sticking out a bit too much here. Grab this face. GY. There we go. And then we need to bring this window up because that looks stupid. G. Bring this up. Might even need to scale this down a bit. There we go. That doesn't look too bad. Then we'll make sure that it's GY put right into the wall of the house because we scaled it. There we go. It's in the wall now. Alright, we're looking pretty good. I think that's pretty good. We do have some faces here. We can clean that up after. Let's go ahead and create a door. So Control A. Make sure we're not in edit mode. Go back into object mode. Control A. Cube. Gotta love the cube. Scale it down. Let's move it over here just so it's a little bit easier to see. We'll scale it on the Z. That looks good. How big is that? That's pretty big. Now it kind of intersects with the two frames there. This is, again, your creativity, whatever you want to have. You could have it intersect with the frames and it kind of look like support beams, or you could have it go past the frames. It's totally up to you and what you prefer. Face select, G, Y, bring this in. I don't really like that. I think I'm going to scale it on the X. I'm going to use the house frames, or the house support beams, whatever these are. Let's bring this down. Yeah, so now it looks like the door is supported by the housing. Bring this down. Hold down Control to snap the vertex. Now it's lined up on the ground. And then we can add something. add something to the door so it kind of looks like a door. We could curve the top. We could add a window to it. Definitely need a door handle. Let's make a little door handle first. So let's tab into the square, front view, and we'll do a let's do an icosphere. We'll select this tab area down here. Subdivisions 1, move that to 1. And then we'll do scale down, grab, scale, grab, scale. We don't want to make it too small, and like we don't want it to be like proportional. You know, you kind of want to exaggerate things. So that looks good. That is totally doable. That looks like a door. You know, you could just leave it like that, but we're going to add a little bit more detail. Let's do an edge loop. Control Z. Let's do 2 edge loops. Control R. Mouse wheel up. There we go. Then we'll go back into front view. Z for wireframe. 2 for edge select. We'll just grab this edge here and this edge here. GZ. Bring that up. Alright, that looks a bit better. And then we could also put some like support beams on the door. So let's just do back into front view. Let's left click here, Control A, or sorry, Shift A, cube, scale. Grab it a little bit. That looks good. Scale it on the X. Scale it. Scale on the Z. Scale on the X. There we go. That looks good. Let's go into wireframe. Grab this. Press 3 for the face select. Bring this G. Control. Oops. G, Y to move it along the Y axis. Hold down Control to hit that vertex. There we go. Looks a bit too thick. G, Y. There we go. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of still a bit too flat, hey? I like these 2 lines here. So let's go ahead and create another cube. 1 on the numpad for front view. Scale it down. Move this over slightly. Scale it down even more. Scale on the Z. G, Z. Let's do right there. That looks good. Let's grab this face, bring it down, GZ. Let's grab this face, 3 for face select, G, Y. How does that look? Oops, where's this back face here? G, whoops, undo that. G, Y. Just so it's flat against the door. That looks pretty good, I think. Control ++ to select all the faces. Front view. Shift D. X. Move it right over there. Tab out. Looks religious for some reason. So we'll do this face. Control ++. Front view. Shift D. And press Z to bring it down. Tab out. Wow. I like that. That's looking a lot better. I think that's looking really good. Control S to save. Don't forget to save. And I think we're looking pretty good. We could add a bit of character to this. I think I'm going to add a bit of character. So we'll go to the roof, tab into edit mode, do Control R, put an edge loop right in the middle, and then we're just going to bring it down slightly. G, Z, bring it down, and then we're just going to grab 3 for face select, grab that face, and then we're just going to scale it. But we don't want it to scale on the Y axis, so we'll do Shift Y to ignore the Y. And and this will scale on the Z and the X axis. So we'll do scale, Shift Y. There we go. So just now the top, if we go to side view, the fronts and the backs are a little bit bigger, and the middle is just a little bit smaller. Just kind of like this caved in style almost. Let's do this face here. Let's do I to inset. I'll inset that in. And then we can just, we could give this a different color in the textures, or we could rotate it on the Y. And then we could inset or extrude, E to extrude, and just extrude it a little bit. There we go. So it's kind of, there's a little bit of a style to that. We'll make sure we do it on the other side as well. Select this face, I to inset, rotate R, Y, rotate it slightly, E to extrude on the Y axis. There we go. That looks good. Oh, that's a little bit too much extruding. Just some subtle changes. There we go. That looks good. Oh, and then we can clean up some of these bottom faces here. So press 1 for front view. Go to the house, tab into edit mode. Z, wireframe. Unselect everything. And then we'll just press G to grab, and we'll just grab the bottom faces here. So if we just grab just the bottom here, make sure you don't grab anything else. Just these bottom faces. And we can move around like this. We see that we just grabbed the bottom faces. These are useless faces. Nobody's ever going to see these faces. Unless this is like some physics game where houses are flying around and flipping over, then you want to show them, but we don't. So now we got those faces selected. Just X faces. There we go. We'll do the same on this door. Front view, wireframe, faces. Delete faces. There we go. Just cleaning up our geometry a bit. You could go in further too if you wanted to. And delete these back faces as well. Cleans up a bit of the geometry. Oh, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. There we go. Faces. Make sure we didn't mess that up. No, looks good. Heck, you could even delete those faces. I'm kind of a I don't know the word, but I really like to make sure that I clean up all my meshes. So you don't have to do this. It's not really not going to make that much of a difference, but if you wanted to, for performance reasons, maybe if you're making a mobile game, this could add up to quite a lot. All right, let's go back into the house. I saw some more faces we could delete. We could delete all these faces up here. Whoops. Along the top of the wood beams here. There you go. All those faces. Delete those. Looking good. And we could even delete the back faces on these shingles. But again, you know, like this is just, this takes a lot of time, right? To go back and clean up your meshes. But like if you're having performance issues, then you can come back and delete these off your meshes because they're pointless faces. There's really no reason for you to have them. Okay, let's check our reference image. Let's see, how does it look? Okay. I think we took a lot of creativity and expanded on it, but you kind of have the house we were looking for if we go to like a top-down view. Let's go ahead and render it, see what it looks like. That looks terrible. Let's go to cycles. Let's check our lighting. What kind of light is this? A sunlight. Okay. Rendered view. Let's see what this looks like. All right, let's rotate our sun on the x-axis. What the? Okay, rotate Z on the z-axis. So we can get that front-facing sunlight. And we'll do Shift A, plane, go into front view, bring this down just under the house. Looks good. We'll scale that up just so there's like a bit of a ground and some shadow. And then we'll just scale Y. GY. There we go. That looks good. Scale X. Bring it up. And then we'll tab, or we'll Z out of this, go into solid mode. And I'll press F12 for a render. That's going to take too long. Let's go to render settings. So for the dimensions resolution, we'll just set 50%. And then press F12. And there we go. We have a decent looking house. I'm just going to press 0 to go into camera view. And then I'll do Shift the tilde key. And then just use your regular gaming keys. You know, Q, E, A, S, D, W. Frame that real nice. Use the mouse. Frame that nice. Press F12 again to render. And there we go. We have a house. We just have to go and texture now. And we'll do that in the next video.